The real reason your team don't take ownership in your auto repair shop. I'm Dean from the Workshop Whisperer. This is the original Workshop Whisperer herself, Rachael Evans. And on today's episode of Talking Shop, we're going to talk about why your team's not taking ownership. Rach, tell us.
I think there's one main reason why your team doesn't take ownership, and that's because you've never truly held them accountable. So your team has a range of working experience before they came to work for you, and you might be lucky and have the odd employee or two who comes self-starting, self-motivated, and wants to absolutely do their best and help you achieve your goals. Those employees are more like unicorns than they are stock standard coming out of the factory. So what that means for you is that if you have not properly held your team members accountable, they don't have the instruction guide on what expectation looks like and what it looks like to be held to that expectation. So it is your job, your number one job as the leader of your business, to ensure that if you've got time clocking, you time clock 100% and you hold each team member that applies to being accountable to every minute of their day. You don't do it for some things and not for others. You don't just keep wiping time off because the technician forgot X, Y, and Z. You have to do what you say you will do, and you have to follow through. And that's probably the most difficult part about leadership for many auto repair shop owners, is that you have the best of intentions to put great systems in place, one of which is the things that will help hold your team members accountable to their performance. You implement it, you do initial training with the team, but then it doesn't stick. Why? Not because you didn't have the best intentions, but because you got busy, your team was watching, and they just went back to the way they were doing it beforehand.
Yeah, there's two real keys in what you're saying, isn't it? One is that for your team to take ownership, they need to know the standard that you expect, and when they're looking at you as the owner, you need to consistently show them the standard that you expect. You can't ask people to do things that you're not willing to do. That shouldn't be misinterpreted with that as the owner, you've got to do everything. You need to know the standard for everything to be, or know the standard that you want everything to be done to. And if you need to hop in and do it, you've got to be able to show that standard clearly.
And your team members can't be for you what they don't know you want from them in the first place. So have a think today after watching this video. Am I just saying your productivity's got to be at 90%? Or am I actually explaining it's got to be at 90% at least because this is what helps me pay for your wage in the first place? You're a qualified technician. This is just expected. It makes this contribution to the gross profit margin of the business, and it determines how many vehicles, along with your efficiency, that we can get in and out of the workshop in a day. Most auto repair shop owners on the first pass don't go to that level of discussion, and therefore the accountability piece doesn't get embedded and it doesn't stick.
Three critical things. Your team needs to know the game you want them to play. Two, they need to know what the goal is for each hour, each day, each week. And there's got to be clarity on what they need to do to get from the standard they're currently at to the standard you expect of them on a consistent basis. And is it reasonable to suggest or expect that not every team member you bring in will be able to meet those standards?
It is. It's reasonable to have the same conversation with each team member that person's internal drivers will determine if they are successful with that or not.
The critical distinction here being that time and time again, we've seen or spoken to, auto repair shop owners who persist with an underperforming team member, one, because they've kind of thrown their hands in the air and given up, or they give them more chances than is required to show whether they're part of that team. And when the decision's been made to part ways with the underperformer, not for any other reason than, just simply they're just not able to hit the mark, that productivity, efficiency, morale goes up, because in almost every situation, in fact, I can't think of a situation where it hasn't occurred, where that business has been able to perform better with less people on the floor, but it's the right people in their team. What would your final word be for anyone listening? What's the take-home message if they feel like they've got a team that they're just not seeing that ownership?
Take a step back, reset the conversation with your team members. If you recognise that you haven't gone to the level of depth of conversation that you need to around why you need them to meet performance targets, have that conversation. And then every week and daily in your toolbox meetings, check back in with the team members, update them on how they're tracking against what you need them to do every day, reflect on the day before, ask the team, what do we need to do here to get closer to our goal? And gradually you will earn their trust that you are watching, but that you're also there to help, which is a vital component of accountability and team members taking ownership. And move forward with that. That would be it.
There we go. Help your team take ownership, showing them the standard and reminding them of the expectation for it. We'll see you on the next episode of Talk and Shop.